The Special Intervention Squad to combat kidnapping and other violent crimes in and around the nation's capital, Abuja, has been launched by the Inspector General of Police. The squad is created in response to reports of kidnapping and killings in and around Abuja's suburbs. Today on Dateline Abuja, we launch part one of a two-part series on security in the FCT, an effort by the police force to combat this menace that has very embarrassingly earned Nigeria's capital an international reputation of being an unsafe place to live. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's begin with that rundown. What were the major stories from Nigeria's presidency? Well, here they are in our Abuja wrap.
President Bola Tinubu has performed the wreath-laying ceremony with other dignitaries to mark the 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration in Abuja. All service chiefs, led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and heads of other security agencies, among others, also took part in the celebration. The program, which is organized yearly to commemorate Nigeria's fallen heroes, also witnessed other activities such as prayers, gun salutes, and releasing of pigeons at the National Arcade, Eagle Square, Abuja.
They should keep working very hard and rid us of this menace of the security challenges in the country. And I think they are doing wonderfully well now.
President Bola Tinubu has condemned the recent spate of kidnappings and bandit attacks, describing the development as disturbing, ungodly, and sinister. He said this when he received the delegation of Jamiatu Ansarudeen, an Islamic movement, at the State House in Abuja. According to a statement by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, President Tinubu said while security agencies are acting with dispatch to immediately address the current challenges, all required resources, policies and plans will be rolled out soon for the massive education of Nigerian youths. The Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria has tasked President Bola Tinubu to tackle insecurity headlong and also to take decisive action to cushion the effects of the hard economic decisions taken by his administration. After meeting with the president, the council told State House correspondents that they came to submit the communique of a just concluded conference which reviewed the 2023 elections to the president and also intimate him about the mood of the citizenry. He said the council reviewed the nation's last general election so as to create a consensus and proffer possible solutions to perceived contending issues. The Minister of Defense says a thorough investigation is being launched into the explosion which occurred in Ibadan, Oyo State, during the week. Briefing State House correspondents shortly after the Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, says FEC also set up a committee to look into the issues of environmental degradation, deforestation and illegal mining in the country.
The explosion in Ibadan was raised, and the government sympathized with the victims and the very good people of Oyo State. And currently, investigation is ongoing to find out the real cause of the blast and to see how best we can prevent it happening in the future.
President Bola Tinubu has vowed not to rest until every event of darkness is eradicated in Nigeria. The president stated this at the book launch in honor of former President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja, where he restates his commitment to deliver on his campaign promises. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has lamented a slow rate of work on some projects in Abuja. Mr. Wike expressed his displeasure while meeting with contractors after an inspection tour. According to him, the slow pace of work is delaying the flag off of other projects, which has resulted in residents of the FCT plying roads that are no longer befitting. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, says his administration will make it unbearable for bandits to operate in the nation's capital. The minister stated this during a meeting with the Buhari Area Council chairman, traditional rulers, security operatives, and residents of area councils in Buhari town. Mr. Wike also disclosed that President Bola Tinubu has given approval for the provision of all necessary tools and logistics required by security operatives to combat insecurity, and as such, there is no room for excuses by security operatives. The former central bank governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has pleaded not guilty to the 20-count amended charge leveled against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The charges against Mr. Emefiele now include alleged criminal breach of trust, forgery, conspiracy to commit forgery, procurement fraud, and alleged conspiracy to commit felony. The former CBN governor, who is on bail, was granted leave by Justice Hamza Muazu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court to travel out of the FCT, but not the country. Counsel for the prosecution, Rotimi Oyedigbo, did not object to his continued bail. While granting the request for bail, the trial judge, Justice Moazu, adjourned the case to February 12 and 13 for continuation of trial. 3 persons have been abducted from the hilltop estate behind the Nigerian Army Post-Service Housing Scheme in Kurudu Estate in the Federal Capital Territory. The Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, confirmed the incident happened in the estate at about 9 p.m. on Thursday. Kurudu is one of the communities on the border between the FCT and Nasarawa State in the Abuja Municipal Area Council. According to residents of the estate, gunmen fired gunshots for escaping with their victims. However, Brigadier General Nwachukwu says troops have responded to distress calls from the estate and are currently on a search and rescue operation.
Welcome back. This week on Dateline Abuja, we begin a 2-part series speaking with the Force Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Police, Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi, on plans to ensure the nation's capital is safe as residents battle with a rise in crime and criminality, especially kidnappings and killings in the suburbs of Abuja. Please watch this. Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. I'm cool.
I know that you've had a very busy day today, but it's all in the quest to ensure that the FCT is much safer. I know that it's called the Special Intervention Squad was launched today.
Yes.
So talk to us a bit about why the IG launched this particular squad.
Well, right from the first day the IGP assumed office as the 22nd Indigenous Inspector General of Police, the IGP made it clear that he has a pet project, initiative of the IGP to give support to our commands across the 36 states and, of course, the Federal Capital Territory inclusive. Our Special Intervention Squad is a squad that will comprise 1,000 men, majorly from the Police Mobile Force, our tactical teams, that is Intelligent Response Team and Special Tactical Squad, STS and IRT, and Special Forces, Counter-Terrorism Unit, those one with red caps, red berets, and EOD. All our operational units will be involved in Special Intervention Squad. To be domiciled in all the state capitals, these vulnerable cities and communities, depending on where that Commissioner of Police of that state deems necessary to be situated. They're going to have their base at every state, and 1,000 men who have been trained. Many of them have been trained. We have done proper screening for those that are going to form the nucleus, the major part of Special Intervention Squad in the states. The only thing about what is different about the Special Intervention Squad is that it's not like normal this anti-robbery or whatever squad we have. They don't go out for patrol. They don't go out for stop and search. They will not be going after or profiling young boys. I have dreadlock. I have no. They are focused. They have been trained. They have the mandate to go there and subdue some of these nonsense actors and criminals. They are going to be camped in a particular place. They only go out to strike and come back to the base. So with the mandate, with the standard operating procedure of SIS, we are sure, we are optimistic they are not going to derail. They are not going to lose their focus. It's going to be a different outfit. We did the flag off in Plateau State, I think precisely on Friday 29th of December 2023, when IGP went to Plateau State for the second time. The IGP made pronouncement of this. So the Special Intervention Squad in Plateau State has started, and that operation is paying off because I can say now we have arrested almost 12 suspects in connection with the deadly attacks on the major 3 local governments in Plateau State, the Bokos, Mango, Bakinla, the local government areas of Plateau State. We have some suspects. And as I speak with you now, we have arrested almost 4 suspected gun runners who have been supplying arms and ammunition to these armed bandits that are terrorizing our people in Plateau State. We are not doing it alone. We do that in conjunction with the military and other security agencies. That is what we are trying to replicate in the Federal Capital Territory. This is the right time because we've been having issues of one chance kidnapping, and the outcries are so much we felt touched. We felt concerned that there's need for us, that it is high time we took an action to address this matter of this new development in the Federal Capital Territory.
In fact, this new development was so dire that the FCT minister had a meeting with security agencies recently, and he did point out a few. I wanted to be able to get your thoughts on conversations, really, about declaring a state of emergency. Is that something you think should be declared in the FCT?
It is not necessary, not to that level.
It's not up to that level?
Declaring a state of emergency is not just a tea-party thing. It's not a small thing. You just say you want to declare it.
Can you explain to people why? Because when people hear, oh, there's a kidnapping here, they say, oh, declare a state of emergency.
It's a very simple thing.
If you're saying it's not necessary, explain to people why.
The main city in FCT is safe. The suburb areas have been affected. Not that everywhere is just like almost 100% of FCT is being consumed. No, it's just certain areas, and we can understand that these affected areas, the proximity of them to our neighboring states. You know, the issue of Buhari extends to many areas. I think boundary with Nasarawa, boundary with Niger, and Kaduna. And then don't forget that in Kaduna, we're having, is it Kajuru Forest, where we have these deadly gangs and their camps are there. So mostly what they do is because of the terrain and proximity of accessibility of them coming into Buhari to come, kidnap, have a stopover at Dogo Daji, there's another forest, mini forest, that's like an holding bay for them, before they move them to Kaduna Aziz again. So we need to actually understand this problem, so that can be able to curtail and stop the influx of these armed bandits into the Federal Capital Territory. So there's no need for any state of emergency, because if you don't go to this suburb, if you see the analysis, the statistics is most of these incidences are recorded in the suburbs. So we just need to focus on how we can cut or checkmate the influx of these elements into the Federal Capital Territory. And that's why we are deploying men to some of these affected areas. We are not only looking at Buhari, because don't forget that Abuja-Kaduna Road is having another issue now. I think the guys are trying to come back again. So we are mindful of the fact that there's need for us to have another operation along that route again. And the IGP has rolled out almost 16 vehicles again. It's going, it's coming, so that they can have regular patrol. What we need in that place is not stationary or stop and search point, is motorized patrol, which must be constant. And the IGP has taken the bull by the horn to make sure additional vehicles have been sent to this area. And don't forget, if you take care of that corridor, Abuja, Kateri, Kaduna, you must take care of Buhari, Jere, up to Kateri, linking the express again. You can't leave all those routes. And don't forget again, this Aziz too, Kogi Aziz must be taken care of. So the deployments must take care of all these areas, Abaji, Gwagwalada, Abaji, up to Lokoja Aziz. They must be the terrain. What the IGP is doing is to deploy our drones now. Because that was what my question was.
If we're looking at border cities, the influx into these suburbs, it's made people wonder, what is it, the interstate borders, how are they being manned? Is it a free-for-all? Are the only checks the ones we see on the highway where motorists are being checked? What about all these mountains and forests that are around us?
That's a great challenge. Mountainous areas, not so easy. You cannot navigate them the way you just navigate a plane surface. So what we're trying to do now is to, I think there is an operation, there's a project of the G7, the major cities in the North Central to come together, because all these states border one another. So there's need for all the governors in the North Central to come together. So we had a meeting and we are considering how we incorporate the other states' governments of the North Central zone to come together. So we have launched that operation in FCT. The next one is to make sure we take care of other states in the North Central before we go out again. Because if we focus on the FCT, if we pursue them from the FCT, where are they going to hide? Are they going to any of the North Central state, or the closest state from the northwest, that is Kaduna? The major thing we need to do is to make sure that we incorporate other states in the the neighboring state to come together. So when we fight from Nasarawa, we fight from Niger, we fight from Plateau, we fight from Benue, we fight from the FCT again, we fight from Kogi. I think all of them, our intention is not to just pursue them to send them away. We need to flush them out and pick them. And we need to be mindful of the fact that it's going to be a shameful thing, it's going to be a failure or a failed operation if you go for rescue operation and the victims are dead. So it's always difficult. At times, it's a warrant to go into negotiation. It is done as allowed international security system. It's not a thing that is a new thing or it's going to be peculiar to Nigeria. It's allowed in most cases that when you have people in captivity, hostages and the likes, you negotiate to allow them to go.
Let's take a trip to Buhari Area Council. These kidnappings, the 5th of January, the stories from there, we actually went there, spoke to the people from these places in Buhari, and two things that stood out for me from conversing with these victims of kidnapping and family members of people who have been murdered. Two things that stood out for me. Number one, the vulnerability of their communities. And number two, the fact that many of them had to pay ransom. They say they had to pay ransom. Talk to us a bit about what's happening in Buhari and what the FCT Police Command are doing to make both the residents and the rest of us who live in the city center, to make us feel safer in the light of these stories that have made headlines around the world even.
Well, it's quite unfortunate, and we commiserate with the family of, I think, Barrister Ariyo, whose daughter was shot by these armed bandits. And I felt sad again that when the incident occurred, people felt police did not respond. You know, we responded on time. We even lost 2 policemen to that.
Yes.
The officers were ambushed by these men. We went after them, perhaps to rescue our sisters. But quite unfortunately, we couldn't because we lost the men and the men had to retreat. And majorly it's because of the terrain. We have the locals who know much about this terrain. Nobody deemed necessary to even assist the police or security operatives who went for the operation. Get it right. It's not that you are helping the security. Let's have a paradigm shift from that mentality of, I'm helping you now. Are you not being paid? No. Let us see it as a civil responsibility as a Nigerian that it is my civic responsibility to assist security operatives to curb crimes in my community. It's unfortunate, and I told you again, the vast land, the geographical spread of Buhari, bordering, a local government bordering 3 states, Niger, Kaduna, and Nasarawa. It is not a joke. It's very wide. And that's why majorly the operation, the Special Intervention Squad now, we focus more on Buhari. I speak with you there in Buhari now. The first deployment of this operation is Buhari. Because if we tackle Buhari, tackle part of the express, tackle part of Kogi, FCT is going to be safe. Then we are launching simultaneously, any moment from now, we go to Nasarawa or Kaduna in Northwest or Niger to launch this Special Intervention Squad. By the time we comb them in their bushes. Don't forget the closeness of Buhari to, is it Dogo, Dajif, another small forest like that, camp. Okay, let me use camp this time around. It's connected to Kajuru, big forest. So that is the major beast. So they use all this. And if you don't plan well, you just go that you start wasting even the operatives that want to go for rescue operation or even the victim in captivity. It's a very delicate operation that you need to plan well and study well. So with this deployment we are doing, with the support of the IGP to have our drones to move, attack drones and the likes. Any moment from now, there's going to be another launch of joint operation. The military, police, DSS, and other paramilitary agencies will come together. So this operation is on its own running, and we're going to run with the joint operation. They're going to float again, pari passu. So with all this deployment we're going to do, they are human beings too. These criminal elements are human beings. They don't want to die as well. In most cases, when we give them serious fight like this, the heat is much, they drop, they even release victims, they run away. If they want to run away, they can run away. But if they can only run, they cannot hide. We're still going to go with them. The time is coming, we're going to do a very big operation, even on some of these forests. It's just a matter of time that when we get all necessary approvals and things we want to get, I know the military is taking lead in fighting terrorism and we give them support. So when it's come, the Air Force will do what they should by getting adequate and proper coordinates of some of these black spots and camps that we need to dislodge or we attack. So we are planning hard. We can't be here and discussing our plans for many reasons, but we can all assure the residents of FCT that it's going to be better. We assure all Nigerians that it's going to be better.
This ransom payment bit of this story.
Well, see, in most cases...
How are people able to... And this is, I think, the question on the minds of many Nigerians when we start to hear about paying of ransom.
There's a problem.
Is it paid in cash?
There's a problem.
Is it paid in cash? How are there banks that these payments are being made to? If people are making calls, if kidnappers are calling for, because they didn't write a letter, they called to ask for ransom.
They are using victims. They are using victims' number to call.
So are these is it impossible to trace these calls? Is it impossible?
It is not that.
We know that the military has and security agencies have these capabilities.
Excuse me. It is not that it's not possible to track. Most of these people we have arrested so far. You know, we have paraded some of them not quite long at IRT base there at Gozapi there. We still work on what information we have. But there are so many things, like I said, that don't let us continue to live in the past. There are so many things that were not properly done or implemented in the past.
Such as?
We are going to talk when it gets to that place. But let me just say here now that we have presented certain demands and concerns to the president, to the federal government to look into this. That there are some challenges we face when it comes to implementing certain policies from some ministries, departments, and agencies. There's no need for us to come on here and be saying all those things. But now that the federal government is having the listening here, and we have presented certain things to them, I'm sure things will change for good. So if there are some transfers due to pay money, that's very, very difficult. I don't want to mention any company's name here. We are going to have a meeting with them to say that your company, when I transfer through your platform, is always a difficult thing. I don't want to mention any company's name here. We have called the owners of these platforms to see what we can do. And if it warrants us to advise the government on, because the major problem we're having now is they prefer using those platforms now as more difficult for us to work on. That is the truth. So if it warrants us to brainstorm and see, we have called them to see how we can block these loopholes. If they actually work with us to see how we can block the loopholes and things work fine, there may not be a problem. But if we are compelled to tell the government that this thing, particular policy, this financial institutional platform is giving us a serious problem, what can we do? I'm sure the government will look into it. The CBN will do what is needful to address it. For now, don't let me say much about that because we are still working on it. But when it's time for us to tell Nigerians some of this problem, if things don't go well as we expect, you may be compelled to let Nigerians know that, okay, we are facing this problem. Because you have been heaping blames on us that they pay ransom to those who can't. Why can't? There are some that's very difficult to do. That is the truth. No matter how vast you are, experienced you are in your ICT or your cyber, whatever expertise as you can be, it's still difficult because of these platforms that they work on. So we have presented some of these challenges to the president and to the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they are looking into it seriously.
Thanks to my guests for speaking with us. But next time, in the second and final installment of our security series, we find out more about the Buhari kidnappings, dark spots in the city center, and ways residents can help keep their localities safe. So please stay tuned for that episode. In the meantime, stay safe. Use the FCT emergency toll-free number showing right now on your screen. Long numbers, I know, but save it on your phone. You can also reach the FCT authorities on www.myfctgov.ng. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kayla Magwa. See you next time.